was one of the places that
exceptional, as Mr. Chris Dyson would say.
Is
Good evening. All schools across the country will close until further notice as coronavirus reached 100.
Primary. Where is Chris Dyson? Can we have Chris Dyson on this stage, please?
as I said, we're in the toughest area in Leeds, and yet our school children, the children that actually sit on the interview panel for the Northern Ballet, because I want to give them an opportunity that they've never sort of had before. shows if you believe in the people, you believe in these teachers, you believe in these kids, absolutely anything is possible.
Just been told that we have got the chance to have an exclusive interview with somebody who has done some work with Chris Dyson there at Parklands Primary in Leeds. And I'm absolutely delighted. If I press this button here, we should get something called Boff. Hello, Boff. Are you Boff?
Hello. Yes, I am.
You are Boff, are you? Excuse my ignorance. I'm not up on all that. You've got a bit of a Yorkshire accent there. You local to Parklands?
No, I'm actually from Lancashire.
Oh, beg your pardon.
But I've lived here so long, they've kind of let me stay.
That was the ultimate mistake, wasn't it? Sort of accusing somebody of being from Yorkshire when they're from Lancashire.
I don't know how I managed to sneak in.
So I do beg your pardon. So it's Boff.
Yeah, Boff Worley.
Boff Worley. Okay. And you've Chris said I should have heard of you. What's your claim to fame? Have you had a band once upon a time, or?
Yes, I was in a band called Chumbawamba.
Oh, that rings a bell.
Well, you can be forgiven for never having heard of us. That's fine.
Well, what sort of era was that, Boff?
That was in the 1990s.
Okay. Anything I'd have known? It's ringing a bell. I'm trying to place it.
Yeah, we had kind of one song that people got to know, which was Tub Thumping. Tub Thumping.
How did that go?
It would go as it went. We'll be singing when we're winning. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. That one. I get knocked down, but I get up again. It gets used on.
Wow, that was your song.
Used in films and things like that nowadays. That's why people know it.
That was incredible. Can you do that a little bit again? Go as long as you could do a whole.
I can't remember how to play it, believe it or not.
That was wonderful. Go for it.
Despite being the guitarist in the band, I can't remember how to play it. I get knocked down. I can't remember how it goes. La da 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 da, kissing the night away. I think Chris knows the lyrics better than I do, to be honest.
So that's right. It was kissing the night away. I think I heard sort of an X-rated rugby club version actually. Coming back to
yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
And there was some interest. It was an interesting monologue at the beginning that's coming back to me now, talking about people. I think it was a bit of a swear word there. We'll keep it a family show. But can you remind me there was that sentence? I found that was very powerful.
People
actually
say that music matters, but music doesn't matter. It's people that matter. It has that at the beginning. It's an actor called Peter Postlethwaite who was in, and it's from a film called Brassed Off, which is a gorgeous film. It's set in Yorkshire somewhere, South Yorkshire, about a brass band. But it's just a lovely speech, and we just thought that'd be great to stick at the front of this song. Wow,
so that's right. There's that lovely sample. That was really very powerful. So. Because that's what we're all about. We're all about art in all its forms. So fashion, football, photography, cooking, coding, music, Minecraft, whatever.
I'm all for that.
Do you think that's a valid thing to be saying and doing, sort of making art as accessible as possible like that? Would you buy into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that the I'm an art school dropout myself. I went to art college for a year and then dropped out. But I think art, creativity in schools is absolutely essential. I think it's ridiculous that we live in an age where people value, maths and everything else as being higher than art. I think art's really good for people's well-being and for people communicating ideas and for people being able to think in extraordinary ways, in their own way, and all that sort of thing.
No, well, we're buying into that. We'll stick that on a T-shirt one day, shall we? So tell me about that song. You get knocked.
Yeah, I get knocked down. What it was is that I used to live in for about 7 years. I lived in Hare Hills, which is about 2 miles from here down the road, and we used to go to a pub called the Ford Green, big old pub. What was great about the pub was that it was like, it was Asian people, Afro-Caribbean, Irish. It was all a real mixture of people that went into this pub. It was the one pub in this very multicultural area. And we had a next door neighbour who was Irish, and every week on a weekend, he was working all week, and every weekend he'd go to this pub, the Ford Green, and then he'd stagger home drunk, and we'd hear him coming home drunk, singing Danny Boy, walking up the street singing, "Oh, Danny Boy," and it just seemed like he was having such a good time, and it seemed like a lovely thing to write a song about how a lot of people have a lot of rubbish in their lives, and they have jobs they don't enjoy and all that sort of thing. But at the end of a week, they can go out and have a drink with their mates and have a really good time. So we wanted to write a song that had that feeling of just having a good time even when things are rubbish.
I think this would be a great. Do you mind if we drop it in now? Do you mind if we play that song? If we do, will you tell YouTube not to block it because you've given us permission? Is that all right?
Yeah, yeah. You can say I've given you permission.
Okay, Boff. Introduce this. This is I think it was in New York actually, David Letterman's show. Can you sort of introduce this and we'll press the play button when we think the time is right. Go for it.
Yeah, this version of it, this live version on David Letterman was interesting because we changed the lyrics towards the end, and because we wanted to highlight the case of this black prisoner who'd been in prison wrongly in America. So we put a reference to him in the lyrics, and the Letterman show said, no, you've got to do it again and change it back. We're not having you on the show if you do that. And we refused to change it. We just said, no, we want to keep it like that. And they said, right, we're going to take it off then, we won't air it. And we said, yeah, that's fine then, and we walked out the studio. And then they did air it in the end. They obviously had a meeting and decided they would. So it was great fun to do. It's lovely when you do that, when you just kind of, even with that, a song that people knew and going around the world doing it, we just had fun with it all the time.
I can see the headlines now, Boff. Anarchy in the USA. Let's play it.
That's the one, yeah.
We'll be singing when we're winning. We'll be singing. I get knocked down, but I get up again. It's in the night away.
He drinks a whiskey drink, he drinks a vodka drink, he drinks a lager drink, he drinks a cider drink. He sings a songs that remind him of the good times, he sings songs that remind him of the better times.
Oh, Danny boy, Danny boy, Danny boy. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down. It's in the night away. It's in the night away.
He drinks a whiskey drink, he drinks a vodka drink, he drinks a lager drink, he drinks a cider drink.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You never gonna keep me down. Knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You never gonna keep me down. Free Mumia, Abu Jamal. Free Mumia, Abu Jamal. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, up again. You never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down. You never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down. You never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down. Singing when we're winning.
Wow, that was one that was one hell of a performance, Boff. Blimey. So what was the vibe for you there when you were in New York? So you're a bunch of lads from Lancashire, Yorkshire, and I think you had a Geordie in the crew as well. Have you got a Geordie?
Yeah,
in it?
we were weirdly we all came from. None of us are actually born in Leeds. We all came from places beginning with B. So we're from Burnley, and Billingham, and Barnsley, and we just kind of met here because we squatted. People don't know what squatting is nowadays. We found an old empty house and basically just lived in it rent free for about 7 years, because it was just going to waste and it was falling down, and we went in and did it up and lived there, and people came and stayed and ended up joining the band and not going away, and that's how the band was kind of more of a bunch of friends. It was more of a gang than a band, and we always just saw it as something. Let's have a good laugh with this and let's have a good time with it.
Love it. I lived in Paddington in West London, and there was a band that lived in a squat. Actually, the whole of Notting Hill, as you probably know, was squatted for many years, and North Kensington. And there was a band called the 101ers, I think they were called. You heard of them? Do you know
Joe
them?
Strummer.
Joe Strummer. They were the Clash, really, weren't they? They were up there at the end of my road, and the pub at the end of my road, the Chippenham, which one of our dads in school, Mango, was the manager of that for years. He's got a little Clash altar. He had a little Clash altar in there, and all his memorabilia. Excellent. And Mick still lives around the corner in North Ken as well. So it's good vibes.
Yeah.
So I mean, remind us what brought you to Leeds then. You said all your mates were from B and lived in. You were in Leeds. What brought you to Leeds?
I came to Leeds because I had friends who came to college here, so I applied for college. I didn't last long at college in Leeds, but I liked it in Leeds, so just ended up staying here.
And when was that, Bob?
Sort of early mid 1980s.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago.
I went to university in 1981, so I was in Loughborough, not that far down the road. And one of my mate's brothers was at university in Leeds. It was good vibes, wasn't it? Anyway, enough reminiscing, old blokes reminiscing. It's good to keep it fresh. You got your guitar there. Is there any chance of a bit of a tune? Could you do that for us?
Yeah, I to be honest, I don't often play guitar and sing nowadays. It's just I've always been a songwriter, but never really a guitarist. So I don't really remember many songs. I'd give you just a bit of a song.
Introduce yourself and let's go for it, Boff.
Let's do it. This is a song called El Fusilado. It's about this guy in South America who he was famous because he faced a firing squad and he was shot 10 times and survived. And then he made his living going around America as a kind of travelling showman and explaining why he'd survived the firing squad. So this is a song about him. It's called El Fusilado. Listen close to this crooked mouth, for my story I will tell. Oh, I lived in Mexico by the name of I left my home in Santiago, the heart of the city of Merida. Served with my brothers and sisters all for the army of Pancho Villa. Stand me straight against the nearest wall. Line up your favorite soldiers, oh. 10 good shots, I'll take them all. They call me El Fusilado. The Federales, they captured me, bound up my arms with wire. Officer came, he said, take your aim, steady your guns and fire. Fell to the ground, the officer came, one last shot to the head, oh. It all went quiet, so I walked away. Something, something, something else. Stand me straight against the nearest wall. Line up your 10 good shots, I'll take them all. They call me El Fusilado. I told you I couldn't remember them. I haven't played that for about 7 years, so.
Mate, you could have fooled me. I wouldn't have known that for a second.
I would do better singing a Clash song, wouldn't I?
Well, do you know any Clash songs?
Daddy was a bank robber, but he never hurt nobody. He just loved to live that way, and he loved to steal your money.
O to the M to the G. You've just, God, you just given me goosebumps there. That was absolutely lovely. So Boff, I mean, this is. So that was okay. We've done 1981. This is 2020.
Yeah.
I hate to say
Time's
how many years
moved on.
that is.
Yeah.
So what have you done in the last 12 years, Boff? I think my maths are up to that one.
I've been doing lots of work in theatre and arts projects and working with refugee centres and things like that, and working with Welsh National Opera at the moment. One thing I did do, which is kind of relevant to being here, is I wrote a musical with basically the whole of the East Leeds Seacroft Gipton community called "Oh, I Do Like to Be Beside the Seacroft."
Oh, I've
And
heard about that. Yeah.
lots of kids from this school went and took part in it, dancing, singing. We had over 100 people on stage at the West Yorkshire Playhouse. We had this audience of like 550 people came to watch this huge musical where all the songs were about East Leeds and about Seacroft. And it was a joy to do, I have to say. It took about a year of really hard work, gathering all these people from different community groups, different schools. But, you know, there was all sorts of people involved, you know, lots of organisers and choir leaders and all that sort of thing. And it all came together in kind of one day at West Yorkshire Playhouse, and it was just a lovely thing to be part of. Really enjoyed it.
So what was the storyline behind that? So that was a musical that you wrote about the area?
Yeah, well, what it was is that there was we kind of went around collecting stories from people and put this musical together based on people's stories from the area. One of the stories was just someone's joke was that on a clear day, the reason it's called Seacroft is because on a clear day from some of the higher places in the area, you can actually see all the way to the sea near Scarborough.
Oh, wow.
Which is a myth, of course, but we just had this lovely idea about
You had to spoil it, didn't you?
wanting to, you know, living somewhere like Seacroft and just wanting to get to go away to the seaside and see the bright lights, but kind of, you know, after you've spent some time there, you realise that this is the same kind of fun to be had, the same kind of life to be had in East Leeds as there is, you know, living somewhere where you think it's always sunny and there's amusement arcades and stuff.
Well, hang on, yeah, but I take your point. I mean, a lot of the young people, kids here, don't get to go to the seaside very much, or even into
That's
Leeds
true.
City Centre, and that's one of the things that Chris does here every year.
I know.
He takes a whole load of buses and takes the whole school.
I know.
to the seaside.
I love that. I think it's great.
Isn't it lovely? I mean,
Yeah.
what a good vibe.
But they always come back.
They always come back to East Leeds.
Well, mostly they've probably left one or two in the past.
Well, the tea was probably in the oven. They were getting into trouble with their mum, weren't they?
Yeah.
So, funny enough, I was at the Chapel FM place, actually, the HQ, like community centre, recording studio, beautiful work they're doing
yeah.
over there, beautiful
Brilliant place.
building. And they had a thing called the Seacroft Scroll. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because I got one, actually.
So it kind of tells the history of Seacroft.
That's right.
From it's been put together with all local people got involved in it, but it's, there's like poets and artists and everything all contributed to it. It's starts from the Seacroft was Domesday Book. Is that 1066? Is it? Harold got the arrow in his eye. I might be wrong on that. Anyway, it's mentioned in the Domesday Book, and it's Seacroft existed as a place before Leeds, as a settlement, and it's just lovely that it's gone through all these amazing changes. All sorts of things have happened here. Yeah.
No, that's lovely.
I work with an arts group, an arts charity called Space 2, which again is centred
Oh, yeah.
around Gipton and Seacroft. They're in the old fire station up in Gipton, and so I've been doing a lot of work over here. Again, as a Lancastrian, they've allowed me to work over here for about 10 years now.
You got a pass out, did you? They let you in?
Yeah.
There's a lot of great community artwork going on around here. 'Cause obviously, Chapel FM is a hub, is a focal point for a lot
Yeah.
of the work. There's Fall Into Place.
Yeah.
You come across. Do you know much about their work?
Somebody just told me about them recently. I don't really know them.
Lovely work.
Yeah.
They've got a sort of drop in a regular art and culture hub.
Mm.
There's a lovely woman actually who, well, you know from Twitter, she might not be lovely, but she certainly comes across.
Used to corner from her in Armley, and we used to refer to her as the Lady Mayoress of Armley.
Unofficial, probably, was she?
Yeah, we actually tried to kind of start a campaign to give her some kind of official status, but it never quite happened. She lived in Armley. She lived in the place which I think was voted the nicest street in Britain. It's just a very ordinary terraced street, but everybody got on with each other, and they had street parties and all that.
Do you think that was coincidence, or do you think Emma was the kind of magic ingredient?
I think
in
Emma
that?
was the magic ingredient.
It's funny actually. We ran a street party back in 2012 when it was I think it was the Olympics or the Queen's Jubilee or something, and they did a thing called the Big Lunch, which is organised by our friends down at Eden Project.
Yeah.
And we organised one. We had a great day. We had a whip round, a Banksy Castle, and all that classic sort of Guardian reader kind of middle class stuff that we sort of get up to. But it was we rented some toilets, and it was super. But I went to a community camp at Eden Project last Christmas. And so funny, the bloke who runs the place stood up and did a little PowerPoint all about the big lunch, and it was a photo of me, my lovely Muslim neighbour, and all her vegetarian vegan food on the first slide of his deck.
Excellent.
I couldn't believe my luck. It was lovely.
Yeah.
You know, couldn't have set it up.
Did you
better,
say,
could I?
"That's me"?
I did actually. Well, of course
Yeah.
I did. I wasn't going to let that pass.
Yeah.
I
That's
absolutely
great.
milked that moment. And from what
I'll tell you, one of the things that's happened in Yorkshire in the past 4 or 5 years is that that you would never have expected. Because people love to come out. If it's a Jubilee or whatever it is, people love to come out and have a reason to celebrate on the streets and stuff. So the Tour de France coming to Yorkshire, and then the Tour de Yorkshire and the Tour of Britain, is brilliant. It's people who don't care at all about cycling all just came out in Leeds and all over Yorkshire onto the streets just to kind of wave flags and be in the streets together.
Well,
It's
is
brilliant.
it a
I love
classic
it.
case of? Is it a classic case of any excuse, Boff? is it?
Absolutely, and I love that because one of the stories we wrote a song about when we were doing some music over in Gipton was that round here people used to have bonfire night. The bonfires would be just on the streets in the 1960s and 70s. In the middle of the road, they would put up a bonfire, and the council eventually put a stop to it because there was fires all over the area. They put a stop to it because it was, leaving these big areas of melted tarmac. But I love that idea. People just want to come out on the streets, don't they, and gather. And especially in the whole kind of the year of the pandemic when we can't do that, it seems even more exciting to be able to gather.
Is it a classic case of you only know what you've got till it's gone kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think a lot of the, a lot of the community heart gets taken out of places, and the pubs get shut down, and the shops move away, and work disappears. But there's still at root, there's still a sense of community. People do want any excuse to come out and get together and have a good
let's
time.
face it, clap for carers on a Thursday night, whatever you think about
That's
that,
right,
and the implications of
Yeah.
that. People had suddenly started banging bin lids, and then
Yeah.
somebody would find a trumpet under the stairs,
Yeah.
and Rob the Bank, who a friend of ours runs a festival, his dad had a trombone, I think, so he pulled his trombone out.
Great.
But what really struck me, Boff, it's a bit like you just picking up your guitar. You're not pretending to be brilliant, and I think you are, but we take for granted that these skills are in our communities.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 schools in Britain have reported in a BBC survey that they have cut one or more art subjects. This is an expensive thing to teach. It's becoming a privilege for, the head teacher's boss, the boss of the head teachers union said it's not happening in private schools. And this isn't class war, so let's not go there. But it's what the parents are paying for in private schools. I'm not being funny, but you pay your tax,
Yeah.
I pay my tax. It's
Yeah.
what I pay my tax for as well. Would you agree with that? We want kids to learn this.
because I've got a 10-year-old lad who's at school, and he's my attitude to him going to school is it's nice if he learns things. That's really important. That's good. But if he comes home, with a smile on his face and he's had a good time at school, then I just think brilliant. They're doing something right there. It's fantastic. I think the social aspect of just kids just coming to learn together and having a good time. Oh, it's so much better than just having to do your times tables all the time, isn't it? Which you have to do as well anyway.
Well, I think the thing is, if your son has come home with a smile on his face, he may not have learnt the lengths of all of Africa's rivers and be able to recite them backwards, but he's learnt something. He's got some cultural experience, some cultural capital, whatever the buzzword is.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you've seen of what Chris does in the school here at Parklands, but those kids are buzzing. They're doing their times tables 1 minute. They're having fun. They're doing stuff with Bryn and Tagtivate. They've got the rock kids thing in here. They are learning. Let's not. And I know you're not saying this, but a lot of people think, art is a bit of a light touch. It's not hard work. You're not learning. It's as relevant as doing your times tables.
It's
or
really
everything
important.
else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, it's interesting actually because there's a super educator, travelling teacher, he calls himself, called Howell Roberts, and he runs a microbrewery in Wakefield, which I think is pretty near here. And he does a lot of education around storytelling and drama and imagination. And he was telling me that he had to drive over with his master brewer to Manchester one day. And he said to his brew, we were a bit miserable, the lockdown and all that sort of stuff. And and basically he said to his master brewer, what, you know, he's a very ordinary sort of blunt bloke. He said, "What do you think the country needs?" And he says, "A bloody good knees up," you know, like in 2012,
Yeah.
as you've just said. And I don't know if you know, but in 2022, the government have got £120 million allocated for a national festival of creativity. Did you know about that?
No, I didn't.
Do you like the sound of that?
Yeah.
Sounds, what's not to like, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
what's interesting is that it's a festival of creativity and innovation, if you like, to tell the world how creative. It's a bit like the New Labour kind of Creative Britannia
Yeah.
stuff, a bit of a trade show, a bit of a festival of Britain, but also the brief, because I had a chat with the culture minister last year, and he said it's very much about showing the value of art to reconnect communities. Because whether you're into Brexit or Remain or whatever your politics, we've all got to get on.
But they do need to put that attitude into the way they're kind of governing education as well, though.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
It's no good just having a kind of big one-off festival whilst at the same time, you know, pulling all the funding from, you know, people being able to do art in schools.
So maybe it's a, you know, mustn't be a token gesture. So what we need to do, there's a lovely phrase actually with a lot of the art stuff. I mean, Chris gets amazing shows into Parkland. You know, these events must not be like the circus where you just get a pile of elephant poo in the car park. You've got to have legacy, you've got to have impact.
Yeah.
And I know that Chris's team here, the teachers, they'll get the rock kids in, they'll get some drama in, they'll get some music, but then they'll build that into their curriculum. So they'll do writing about it, they'll do drawing about it, they'll do maths about it, and really bringing education to life and making it accessible and relevant.
Yeah.
And for me, that Festival 22, I mean, I got very excited, and we said, right, Festival 22, brilliant. So we'll do Art Connects 19 year, we'll do hashtag Art Collaborate 20, that's this year. Next year, Inspire Nation 21, then we'll do hashtag Festival 22. So we went to the government and said, can we have some of the money? And they said, no, we're giving it to Jamie Oliver and Siemens or whatever, which is fine. And I'm not knocking that, great teams. But we're on a mission. I've just announced a campaign to raise the money. I want to raise £1 million for 2022 because I want to put 22 people, heaven forbid, like me on the road with a little trailer, and in Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, England, to travel all around the country, to go to schools like Chris's, to run free creativity festivals and put a shout out to people like you and local artists and just run these events. You know,
Yeah,
and we want
sounds
to do
good.
that all year. And then if that works, hopefully we've given those men not a bunch of fish and a bit of bread, but some fishing rods that they can run little micro businesses, community interest franchises, whatever, for the coming years, you know.
Yeah.
So we want to try and take the positives out of that festival UK 2022, which many are calling the Brexit Festival, and they can call it what they like. I'm looking for the good in it, I'm afraid. Call me old-fashioned. So, you know, if we pull that off, if I get the $1 million, I'll give you a shout, mate, and we'll come back to Parklands. And so very quickly, I know Chris actually, I've heard that Chris is going to pop down and see if he can see you on stage. I know he's down in one of the fields at the moment.
Well, apparently he's got a reputation for having a beautiful operatic voice.
Well, we'll get him up when he gets up. I just want to catch up with you on one thing before we do that. You've got a project, the Commoners Choir. Tell me about that quickly.
It started out with just as an idea where I just thought it wouldn't be nice to have instead of having a band, to have a choir that sings about what's going on in the world around us. So I just kind of put word out, and now we have about 130 people
Wow. When did you start that?
on the books. 3 or 4 years ago.
So pre-pandemic then, okay.
Yeah, but during the pandemic it's been brilliant because we decided that even though we can't perform and get together, that we would carry on existing as a community. So we've carried on writing songs, recording songs, making videos, all kind of, you know, socially distanced stuff. But making an effort to keep it going as a community.
Wow. So I'd be quite nice to find one of those on YouTube. Which one would you recommend we play now? I'll dig it up and we'll put it on. Then we'll see if we can find Chris Dyson.
Well, we actually we've got a song about one of the things that happened at this school, but it's not on YouTube, I don't think. So there's no film to go with it, which was called "Come On In From the Cold." It was about the idea that, you know, when all the schools were shut because of the blizzards, that Parklands was one of the places that kept the school kitchens open, so that kids from the area, often who were like left at home while the mums and dads had gone to work, could come in and have something to eat, which we thought was a lovely story. And we love to sing songs about kind of local stories anyway, so it seemed perfect. But yes, you can't cut to that because it's not on YouTube.
Could you do a little bit now, like the chorus, just to give us a taste? Come on, you're not going to get off that easy, Boff. Can you? If you can't, don't worry. You remember it?
So take off your raincoats and pull up a chair. Da, 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 da. No, I can't do it well enough.
Go on,
Do you
give us the punchline.
The
So what-
beautiful thing about the choir is I get to stand at the front and wave my arms around, and I don't have to learn all the lyrics.
There you go. We caught you out there. They're all rolling around laughing now. What an
Yeah.
imposter you are. So, which song would you recommend we pull up just to play now, and then we'll go and track Mr. Dyson down?
Carve's Heart Song is one that we just made during lockdown, which is about it's about a refugee who came from Iran, and he lived in Britain, and he wanted to repay the debt of kindness to all the people that had helped him when he got to Britain. So he decided he would train to be a heart surgeon to be able to put something back into the country and the community. So it's a song about him. Carve's Heart Song.
The refugee who trained to be a heart surgeon, like you do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Took him years and years, but he did it.
Just wow. Thank you, Boff. Let's play this.
My name is Kaveh from Kurdish Iran. I was born just an hour from the borderline. Here to tell a story of promise and pain, with a heart that keeps on beating. From the day I was born, there was always a war. Soldiers on both sides settling scores. Everyday nightmares, tired and sore, and a heart that keeps on beating. A, B, O. Feel this pulse and don't let go. A, B, O. This human ebb and flow. Some left murdered, some left maimed. I watched on helpless to ease their pain. So I made a resolution to study and train, to mend the hearts and keep them beating. I broke the silence, demanded rights. They jailed me, beat me, so I took flight. Smuggled into England, dead of night, with a heart that kept on beating. A, B, O. Feel this pulse and don't let go. A, B, O. This human ebb and flow. I trained as a doctor to stitch and sew. I studied the heart, its flutter and flow. I worked and I practiced and I came to know that we all share the same heart beating. What comes apart can be sewn up again. It's all the same red stuff filling our veins. Science and art can ease the pain in a heart that keeps on beating. A, B, O. Feel this pulse and don't let go. A, B, O. This human ebb and flow. And whether you kill
Wow, Boff, that was absolutely lovely. Commoners Choir, just beautiful, beautiful work. I think we've tracked down Mr. Here he is, actually, Mr. Dyson. Get up on this stage, please. I want you've
Well,
got a
would
bit
you
of a job.
believe it? Well, that's a coincidence, you being here.
Absolutely lovely, Boff. Absolutely lovely. And what an honour and what a pleasure that, for a bit of a giggle, this might go absolutely pear-shaped, it might go absolutely brilliant, might put us on a world tour next year. But Boff, when he first came to our school and did the musical, Oh, I Do Like to Be Beside the Seacroft, which did 2 full sold-out shows at the West Yorkshire Playhouse, now the Leeds Playhouse, the proudest moment of my school life was working with this young gentleman. And we're going for a blast from the past because it was 4 years ago, this song. We printed some lovely lyrics out, and we're going to give it a try, because if he's setting challenges for children to challenge themselves every day, then it's only right that we do it as well. So, we're going to sing I Want to Be Beside the Bright Lights and the Sea. There's more to life than Sunday school and cricket, and Tuesday dances down the village hall. There's more than running errands for your neighbours. Oh, I'm so very tired of thinking small. And what's it all add up to after all?
1, 2, 3.
I want to travel wild and free. I want to throw away the key. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea. Croft.
I can be where I want to be. There'll be no one in charge but me. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea. With my smile set wide, all my troubles brushed aside. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea.
There's more to this old world than tea and biscuits, and reading books and staring at the walls. There's more than playing hopscotch in the schoolyard. Oh, I'm so very tired of thinking small. And what's it all add up to after all?
1, 2, 3.
I want to travel wild and free. I want to throw away the key. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea. Croft.
I can be where I want to be. There'll be no one in charge but me. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea. With my smile set wide, all my troubles brushed aside. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea. One more time. I want to travel wild and free. I want to throw away the key. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea.
Croft.
I can be where I want to be. There'll be no one in charge but me. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea. One more time. I want to be beside the bright lights and the sea.
Boff Wally, everybody. Love him.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic, Boff, and thank you so much for letting me do that. I'm going to be the envy of all my friends up and down the country. I hope I haven't upset anybody by singing there.
I think you did remarkably well getting up to those high notes.
Well, it was good practice for
That
10
song,
minutes
that song
before.
was written for a kind of 17-year-old boy's voice. They had this gorgeous angelic voice, and I just thought, there's no way you're going to be able to pull that off. But you did it.
So, rising to the challenging things. So, I know that we're going to link up again in the new year with the community choir and getting the children from Parklands again fully involved, adding the voices, because 80% of that brilliant production we talked about earlier was the children at Parklands. And my own very daughter, when she was in lovely year 4, my very own beautiful daughter in year 4 was a key part of that. Changed her life playing on a full sold-out show. Absolutely beautiful.
I have to say, because I was playing in the band at the back, and so I couldn't see I didn't actually see the show. But then somebody showed me a film of it a couple of months later, and I was just the sight of all the children on stage just all singing. I just thought, whoa, that's lovely.
Absolutely.
So sweet.
Changed, it added to our outstanding, it just added to the outstanding opportunities we give to our children here at Parklands.
Yeah,
But absolute pleasure, and let's do this again next year with our new songs, and who knows, after watching this, we might be on a world tour when we're all COVID safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Take care. Big love to
See
all.
you later.
Well, we're all frozen there, isn't it, on our little pre-recorded set. Boff Worley, what a fantastic, lovely man. I just can't quite get my head around how wonderful that guy is. Actually, he's just off the scale. Such generosity. I mean, it's just something else. It really is. We're just downloading some stuff that's just been sent to us. Actually, this is just going to be incredible. We are going to go to our headlining act in about 5 minutes. Actually, it's 21 minutes past 10. We've just been sent some stuff. I've just got to download that and copy it onto another machine. So let's just see if that's anywhere near getting across. 3 gig files. Don't shift around very quickly. What I might do is just drop this film again actually, and then see if I can copy it on a memory stick. So bear with me a second. Go and have a cup of tea, because you do not want to miss our headlining band tonight. Our headliners tonight, Titania, are off the scale. You're not going to believe. You're really not going to believe this. It's really going to be quite special. So don't go away. Don't go away. Maybe go and have a cup of tea. Get the kettle on, and then come straight back to us, because this is how. That's not going to work, is it? Because if I play that, I want to copy that file. That's cool. Bear with us just a that cracking, please. You don't really need them cracking just now. What's going on here? A little bit of a sympathy vote time, possibly, just to get a sense for what it is we're up to here in our little disco heaven. I say disco heaven because over there is our mirror ball. So we've got a mirror ball. That's Malumba's bed. That's where Malumba sleeps. We'll have a little flash. That's the kitchen galley. See, we just had to go and find a wire. So that's what all those wires are there for. That's when Malumba didn't. Give us a little wave, Malumba. You all right, mate? You're all right, yeah. Malumba's the man. So Malumba's the production manager, but this is tech hell. So if anybody wants to talk about tech hell, this is it. Because sometimes this thing, this just crashes and all the lights just flash like it's Christmas. And I've got my little iPad here, which is quite handy, because I've got my mixer on there and all these different settings. So that in itself, and I've got to set all that up. I've got some green screen there, I've got an audio mixer there. So it's pretty full on. And there's a little video down there which really is very special. That video is very, very special to me at the moment, because for me, as far as I'm concerned, that's a video that the Co-op made. And I'm not going to play it now, we've played it a bit today. That's a film that the Co-op made, really to sort of sum up what we're all about. And I can't pretend they made it for us, but, you know, funny enough, the chief executive did send me a little note yesterday and said, you know what, Nick, I don't know if you've seen our new film, but you want to check it out. And I hadn't. I told him I had. So that was very, very sweet of him. And let me just get this scaled properly. I didn't realise that was. Oh goodness me! Let's just jiggle fingers. Okay, so I've got to get that to 100%. And do you know what? There's no easy way of doing that. So I've got to just keep clicking that until it's nearly. Oh, there it is. That's 100%. Okay, so that's perfect. So that's that Co-op film. So what I want to do is just recap. I mean, this is a session about creativity. It's about kids, and it's really about, if you like, all our futures. We've had a fantastic time yesterday at Parklands Prime. This is Parklands Prime on the Seacroft Estate in East Leeds in Yorkshire. And I think it might even be a bit of drone footage actually. Look, that actually moves. Look, you can see there. I don't know what that is on the playing field down there. There's something quite big on bottom playfield. Let's have a look. My goodness, what is going on here? It looks like somebody's only gone and built a massive cardboard Tracy Island in the playing ground. Now, I can't imagine anything at all better than to have a band on there. Wouldn't it be fantastic to have a band playing on that stage now? So I'm going to have to press a couple of buttons, and I'm going to do that. So I've got a band on a live link down here. Now they're on number 4, so I need to go and press lots of buttons here. So let me just press this, not that, that, and that, and that, like that. And so now that should be on my, let's get rid of that, and that, okay. And I should now be able to press that, and we should be able to have a little gig. So enjoy this. This is an amazing man, amazing young man called Luke Goodwin, who is a trainee teacher at Parklands Primary. I'd like you to absolutely go berserk, please, everybody. Just go as berserk as you possibly can. He says playing for time because he's realised that he's got to sort something else out over here. There's a lot of buttons to press, as you've just seen. So let's see if we can't have a little bit of applause for Luke and Titania. Take it away, guys.
You're taking me high.